Welcome back for our last session with Ted Thomas, the guy who knows all about tax deeds and tax lien certificates. Ted, I've got a lot of information. I've written a lot of notes and so forth, but couple of questions, just a couple of questions to wrap this up. So you mentioned about having to fix the property up and put some money in it and so forth and that, but that brings up the question is that if I now have this property, am I responsible for paying like the utilities, the water, the heating, and all of those types of things on the house that I've gotten?
Okay, so you just said house. There's two businesses here. The people that buy a tax lien certificate, they're not responsible for anything because the people stay in the property.
Right.
In other words, the people don't get thrown out. So they're just going to stay on their property. They're just going to pay their taxes late. All right, that's all they're going to do. They're going to pay it late. They're going to pay you a penalty. So that's a no-brainer of business. If you're buying a tax defaulted auction, you're buying a house that's empty more than likely. There's nobody in that house. The government has already come and confiscated the property, thrown the people out, and now you got. Now, if the people are still in there, the government meant to get them out and they didn't, you'll have to evict them and get them out because you will have to pay the utilities and the future taxes and the cleanup and all that stuff. But that's not a problem. You never have to do any of that work. Anybody that makes a big deal out of that work is trying to sell you something that you don't need to buy. You never have to get involved in an eviction. That's why they make 700,000 new attorneys every year. You just dial the phone and say, I want to get this guy out. They say, great, I'll file the papers tomorrow. Bring you $1,000 in. You have an attorney, you're not doing any of that work, none of that. I mean, this is a clean hands business, clean hands.
Yeah. So if I go to the auction, either at the auction physically or if I'm online and that, can I buy at the auction with a credit card?
All right, so this is pretty amazing. When I started, and even today, there's a lot of special rules about buying, but two states now do sell just using credit card if you want. It's probably 10 states. I just haven't kept up on that. So you can buy in New York and you can buy in Michigan. I have one client. I know this is unbelievable, but he came to work for me as a coach for 10 years. One client that bought in the state of Michigan, he bought 60 properties using a credit card. He bought each one of them using a credit card. And then, because we teach him how to do it, we showed him how to sell with installment sales. So when the installment sale came in, it paid off the credit card. All right. He sold 60 properties that way. Can you imagine having 60 different checks coming in? I mean, I really don't want you to do that. I mean, that's really that's really work. You need an accountant to keep track of all the money. But he did 60 properties just on a credit card. I have personally bought colonial houses and spent more than 150 grand that I paid the treasurer and done it on credit cards. I did it also, I could film it and people could watch me doing it because I didn't believe it. But I bought a colonial in Orange County, New York, and it was worth, I thought it was worth 400, but I only sold it for 380 and I paid 150, 160 for it on a credit card.
Wow.
The rich get richer.
So I'm trying to think as a skeptical person here.
Sure.
Which I'm sure that we have some on here that are skeptical in that. But what about homes that are still in debt with the banks?
It doesn't matter if they're in debt to the bank. If the person doesn't pay their taxes, the local government will confiscate the property. And what most people don't understand is the treasurer is Superman.
Mm-hmm.
The treasurer has power. The treasurer can say, wipe out the mortgage, which they do at every auction. The treasurer can say, that property was on sale for $100,000. I'm dropping the price to 50 if you'll buy it today. The treasurer has that power. And if you didn't believe that, you could go to a place like Los Angeles. I've been there sitting in the room with 1,000 people in the same room. And the treasurer will say, we're finishing the auction today. If you come back tomorrow, any property that had taxes of 20,000 or 50,000 or whatever it was, it will be half if you'll come back tomorrow and buy it. They just cut the taxes in half. Only the treasurer, it's the only government official that's allowed to do that. They have to get these properties sold. Otherwise, they're going to be deteriorating all over the countryside. So they drop the taxes to do that. So the treasurer has power to do that. So for them to knock out the mortgage, anytime there's a foreclosure takes place, it wipes out the mortgage.
Wow. Wow.
I didn't make those rules.
What is the, and I know it's a hard question to answer, but if anybody can answer it, you can. What's the best deals that you've seen people accomplish in this business?
Well, this is going to find, you find this pretty amazing. There's a lot of best deals, but this one's kind of colorful and you'll like it. So while I'm talking, we're going to put some slides up here, but I have a client, his name is Bob Schumacher. He ultimately became a coach. And Bob is learning online and offline. He's done over 100 deals. And he decided he was looking at a property that was coming up for sale in the state of Georgia. And so, excuse me, I had to blow my nose, but so he's looking at this property and he looks online and the minimum tax on the property is like, under a few $1,000s. And so he said, well, I think I'll go down there and take a look at that property. And so he heads down there and he takes a look at the property. And this is pretty amazing. And he looks at it and he said, well, I want to bid on it. So he figured if he can get the property at a decent price, he'll buy it. So first of all, he wants to figure out what it's worth. So he just looks up on the treasurer's site what the property is going to be worth. And so the property is going to be worth somewhere in the neighborhood of about $40,000. But it's a lakefront lot. So that makes sense, worth about $40,000. So he goes down there to buy this property, and there's other bidders that have shown up. All right. Well, the long and the short of the whole thing, and he's going to tell the story better than I did. The long and the short of it is he ended up buying the property for $67. $67. And he ended up selling the property, not for the $40,000, but he sold it for a little less than the $40,000. And his total investment was $67. Now, my whole point is, if you took your family to Denny's for dinner, you're not going to get it done for $67. So folks, just watch this video, and I'm going to show you the opposite of that in just a few minutes. It's just amazing. Now, do I think I'm ever going to get one of those? No, I'm not going to do that. But he bought a property for $67 and resold it and made thousands of dollars, like $20,000. So listen to Bob.
I'd have to say that the best dollar for dollar deal I've ever done on a piece of land, it happened in Oklahoma. I went out to an outlying county and I bought a tax lien. The tax lien was on a 25-acre piece of land. The tax lien was only $67.12. You'd think that nobody would ever abandon a piece of land for that small of a tax bill, but things like that do happen. And guess what? Those people never did pay that tax. They never redeemed that tax lien, and I ended up getting the tax deed to that property. I eventually sold that piece of land for $22,500. It's not uncommon to make $10,000 or $20,000 off of a deal.
How about that?
It's amazing.
So that's a great video, and it's him doing it, so they like it.
Wow. Wow. And who can do this? Who can do this? Is there any limit on who can do this? Because I'm thinking of my mom. My mom is 76 years old. She's not really able to work, but she's got her faculty. She's got some money and she's able to do stuff. Who can do this? Is this something that older people can do?
Yes, definitely older people can do it. Your mom should give you the money so that you can both make money at it and give you a lot of fun to have. But this particular video I'm going to show you now, and I'll be short because we'll run out of time. This is a gal, we call her Grandma Shannon. And Grandma Shannon lives outside the United States, but she came into the United States and used US money to buy. And she went to the auction in Seattle. And in the morning, it was really busy and people were bidding and there's a lot of activity. But traditionally at auctions, after lunch, it slows way down and there's only about half as many people in the room. Now remember that because that's a strategy. So half as many people means half as many bidders. That's going to help you. All right. So she shows up in the afternoon and the bidding starts and goes back and forth. Well, long story short, she bought a property which she thought was a residential lot, a single home residential lot, except she and her coach had already looked at the paperwork. The paperwork said that this was really a residential 4 lots, but the auctioneer was selling 1, but all had the same property number. So the auctioneer was selling 1 and didn't realize that there was 4 there. So when she bought, she got all 4 because she bought the tax number. All right. So she bought it for $34,000. I won't go through the whole thing with you, but she'll tell a little bit about it. She sold it for $138,000.
Wow.
She got her money back and over $100,000. And she did that in less than 180 days.
I'm Shannon Ulrich. A year ago today, we hadn't heard of Ted Thomas. With selling my first tax deed, I made 2 times my yearly salary in that 6-month period. We paid around $34,000, which was 27% of the assessed value, $120,000. And then 6 months later, we were able to sell it for $135,000, which was 3.7 times our investment. So taking action can be frightening when you're stuck in a rut. I mean, unless you want to be a drone all your life. I have a friend who refers to people that go to work 9 to 5 as drones. Yeah. 1 year after meeting Ted Thomas, I am a happier, wealthier person that I feel alive, and I feel my potential more than I did a year ago. This program has given me 2 more years of my life where I didn't have to be going to an office. So it was no biggie to quit my job. Now I get to be a grandma, and every day is a Saturday.
There you go. So I don't know what a person's going to make. I can tell you this is a business of abundance. It's been around for 200 years. I'm a teacher. I teach people how to do it. I'm a practitioner. I do it. I have all kinds of different things that people can do with us. But the best thing that they could ever do is spend 6 hours, less than $100. If they learned a lot on these videos, they will be astonished in that 6 hours. And the 6 hours, now it's the internet. People watch 2 minutes and then they quit. I'm going to tell you at the end of the 6 hours, 90% of the people that started will still be sitting there looking at me. They love it.
Yeah. So, all right, friends, it's decision time. In the last 4 videos that Ted has given us a lot of information, but friends, information does not make you money. Action makes you money. And now is the time to decide if you want to make some money following what Ted will teach you. If you do, if you want to make some comfortable extra money, then click on the link below in order to register for Ted's class. So it's time to make a decision, friends, and it all comes down to you. Are you going to make money or aren't you? It's just a click away. So Ted, thank you very much, my friend, for all the information that you've given us. Friends, I will see you on that class. So go ahead and click that link. Thank you, everybody.